Scott with sjwellfire.com. Final Days Report, episode 461. This VCAST, we're going to cover that the chemtrails are not chemtrailing us during the shutdown. Where are the chemtrails? What do you see? Government enslavement moves, as well as a big topic of this VCAST. We're also going to cover the Civil War psyop that just never ends. Run from it. We're getting played. It's total programming. And also, I want to talk about the evolution lie and the end. Just some interesting moves that prove we did not come from rock poop. All right, with the theme, your government's wicked. Where are the chemtrails after the government shutdown? I'm going to play a video of a woman that went viral for lack of chemtrails, and people have sent me multiple videos and or emails stating there are no chemtrails. One of my good friends in Michigan said he hasn't seen one since the shutdown. I have been watching here in Florida. I'm not seeing them. In Florida, where I live, the cloud formations are amazing, and I would see chemtrails streaking through these clouds like you wouldn't believe. Haven't seen them. What do you see? What do you see? Put it in the comments. And if you haven't been looking up, look up. I was thinking about the name Contrails. Have we just been conned this whole time? Let's play this quick video. This is how this was brought to my attention. I started looking up, and sure enough, she is right.
I know I'm not the only one who's noticed the insanely clear skies from the government shutdown. Why is that? Is it a coincidence? It's just a coincidence. Because usually I have a giant chemtrail blasting off in my backyard multiple times a day. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. But since the government shutdown, I haven't seen one. I haven't seen one chemtrail.
Super clear.
We created a germ in a lab and blew it into the atmosphere in San Francisco just to see if anybody would get sick. And lots of people got sick. 11 of them were sick enough to need hospitalization. And it turned out that they all suffered from the same rare respiratory infection. And the doctors are like, where the heck did this come from? Well, the CIA had it in a big tube and they were shooting it into the fog. And they did it in San Francisco because the fog is heavy. And they knew that the fog would keep the germ close to the ground where people are breathing it in. And then the CIA said, you know what we should do? We should hire a whole bunch of prostitutes and rent a cat house and get these prostitutes to bring Johns back to the cat house. And then we dose them with LSD and see if we can control their minds. These are American citizens. You can't just dose somebody with LSD and say, oh, let's see. Is he going to go crazy? Is he going to kill himself? Is he going to confess to, his deepest, darkest secrets?
All right. We have to watch local government as well because they will beta test things in local government. Again, they put us in this right-left bubble while they take away our rights. Run from it. We've covered how Trump wants to go after the guns. So does the left. Trump wants to go after your free speech under the guise of hate speech. The left does as well. It's a playbook. But they need to kill the creditor because USA Inc. is bankrupt. Governor Gavin Newsom signs law banning Glock pistols in California. And the reason why is supposedly it's easy to make a Glock an automatic weapon. That's the so-called excuse. And Glock for pistols has a massive market share. This is a gun grab. But it gets worse for California. California just passed new AI and social media laws. And the big one is bullet point number 2. One law requires that chatbots disclose they are AI and tell minors to take breaks every 3 hours. I don't mind that. Another requires that device makers like Apple and Google implement tools to verify user ages. Where is that going? It's going to a digital ID. That will enslave you. Go back and look at all of our podcasts. ID 2020, you can't bank, buy food, travel. You can't do anything without your digital papers, please. And it does nothing short of priming you for the mark of the beast, for this brain-computer interface, this optogenetics mind controlism system. They are building this so fast. Can't work in the UK without your biometric digital ID. They don't need it. We've covered how Larry Ellison and Tony Blair have been pushing for these IDs, these national IDs forever. Give me a break. And if you think I'm kidding, Look what's happened in China. And they're all wings of the same bird. We run the Federal Reserve Bank of China. It's political theater. At the top, I suspect, it's my opinion, at the top, they worship Lucifer. Let's play this video.
They didn't go broke, they got deleted. In China, tens of thousands of young people are suddenly homeless, not because of money, but because the system erased them.
Imagine a society where everything you do, everything you say, and everything you buy is controlled and evaluated by the authorities. This is what the Chinese Communist Party calls social credit.
By using the mechanism of social credit, we'll be able to establish a blacklist of people and create a system of punishment that will be based on a scientific theory. These punishments will serve as a whip to rebuild moral values. Our society needs it.
The country's social credit system decides who's trustworthy. But if you're blacklisted, it's game over. Your WeChat Pay stops working, you can't receive your salary, can't buy food, can't even book a train ticket. It's like being alive, but digitally. Many are now sleeping in the streets, cut off from everything. Jobs, housing, even communication. All because one app, one algorithm decided they don't belong.
It's not science fiction. In China, it's a reality. Then there's the public shaming. Photo galleries of blacklisted citizens. There's even an app that shows who around you is in debt.
They're not criminals. They didn't steal, cheat, or harm anyone. They just fell too low on a score and vanished from the digital world. Critics say it's a glimpse into the future, where technology doesn't just track your life, it controls it. So ask yourself, if your entire life depended on your digital reputation, how long before you get deleted?
Where it's going to go, I think, in the Western nations is your carbon dioxide score. I just read articles on how banks linked to your purchases are putting how much carbon dioxide was used. You exhale it. Without carbon dioxide, plants die. It's a scam from the pit of the Club of Rome. Hell. But folks, where's your faith? I don't think and don't believe in the pre-trib rapture. I don't think it's in scripture. Personally, I move from mid-trib to post-trib. If you're a mid-tribber, that doesn't bother me because those pastors are telling people and warning the flock that you better never deny Jesus Christ. But let's read. China detains dozens of underground church pastors in crackdown. The crackdown comes a month after new rules from China's top religion regulator banned unauthorized online preaching or religious training by clergy, as well as foreign collusion. But the Catholic Church gets to run rampant there in China. But Christians that fear the Lord, that are in the Word of God, and I'm not saying all Catholics are like that, but it's just ironic. The Catholic Church is not being persecuted. It's these Christians that know their Bible. I have heard and watched so many different videos of Christians around the world. Folks, we need to take note of this because it's moving fast in the West. It's moving so fast in the West, and it's going to move fast where you live. Who can make war with the beast? Let's continue. It's all coordinated. Wicked governments around the world. No, Putin is not going to come and save you. All nations acting in lockstep, coordinated from on high. Russian state-backed WeChat copies the launch of a digital ID. Russia's state-backed WeChat copy launches digital ID. Same playbook. Russians were forced to take the As the Days of Noah devil juice, just like other countries. This is from LifeSite News. UN Gates Foundation push for digital ID across 50 nations by 2028. This reminds me of the Bank of International Settlements and that organization where they're above the law.
Look at the group of people who meet through the BIS.
What's that?
The BIS is the Bank of International Settlements, and it's the central bank of central banks.
Where is that located?
It's in Basel, Switzerland. It has 63 of the most powerful central banks as its members, and the New York Fed and the Fed are both shareholders. They became shareholders in 1994.
In one sentence, what's the purpose of the Bank of International Settlements?
Okay, so there are two things you need to know about the Bank of International Settlements.
I'm not sure my brain's big enough for this, but keep going.
It is. It has sovereign immunity.
What does that mean?
It's above the the law.
It's its own country.
Right. It's its own country. It has its own police force. And essentially, other than one of its staff being in a car accident or, minor things, no one has the legal authority to move against it. Number two, it can move money and hold it on its balance sheet and manage money secretly. If I want to steal $21 trillion from the U.S. government and park it on the balance sheet of the BIS, it can move it anywhere in the world and it can keep it on its balance sheet secretly.
First of all, where does its power? Like, who empowered it to have sovereign immunity and the right?
It was created after World War I, and it was created in theory to manage the reparations of the German government. But if you read the real history, it was because the Bank of England and the central bankers wanted an entity that had sovereign immunity.
Folks, Russia is part of the script, but we have to remember God is in control and allowing it to happen. But my point is, Christians will be tried. We're going to be put through the furnace. We're going to have faith. We're going to be tested. I think we'll see miracles. Get rid of your habitual sin, repent, come to the Lord. And here's another excuse. I decided to put this here because they're going to have multiple excuses for this digital ID, if not a digital pandemic that just wipes things out. But it'll be an inside job. Let's read from Business Wire. 80% of Gen Z parents fear their kids will fall for AI-enhanced online threats, yet 37% give them full autonomy or lightly monitor activity. See, this parlays what we just said in California, in California.
And so what is their reason? What is Keir Starmer's reason for the digital ID? Is it the immigrant thing?
It is to introduce total control through programmable money.
Right.
So instead of introducing CBDC, we're now going to introduce stable coins and other privatized versions of CBDC that are programmable with money. So you can't have a complete control grid unless you get a digital ID and an all digital financial transaction system. So that's why you want to kill cash, and that's when you want to require people to have a digital ID, and that requires them, among other things, to have a digital smartphone or other mechanism that will ensure that you can do both the programmable money and the digital ID system. So you're trying to get all digital and everybody with the equipment to play digital. I would point out Bill Gates is now promoting an electronic tattoo, so you won't have to be inconvenienced by carrying a phone.
And it's not a right-left thing, wings of the same bird, because guess what just happened in the United States? And the government hates veterans. They hate them. All throughout history, they hated the veterans. The Roman Empire, you can read all about that because that was a threat to the state. The first digital ID launches today. Digital veteran ID cards are launching today, and the government wants to digitize passports, driver's licenses, and others by the end of 2027. Again, Larry Ellison and Tony Blair pushing for national IDs. Where's it going to end? It's going to end with AI being all-knowing and shutting you down because you ate too much meat, shutting you down because your social credit score was bad, shutting you down because you won't take the full implementation of the mark of the beast. Everything will be on the blockchain. You'll be on your best behavior. It's wickedness, my friends, and it gets worse. The healthy are now losing control. The jab that gives the jab that keeps on giving 300% increase in ALS, motor neuron disease. Drug sales reveals Singapore's hidden health horror story. By the name, ALS-MND is characterized by progressive degeneration of the motor nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. The motor cells, neurons, control the muscles that enable us to move around, speak, breathe, and swallow, and go to the bathroom. This hits home to me because somebody close in my life, an older man, poked himself so many times. All of a sudden, he gets dementia. All of a sudden, he loses control of his bowels. It's wickedness, my friends. I warned him. You didn't listen to me. But what's the problem, reaction, solution? Where's the money grab? Where, if they force this, will it help bank disrupt businesses, just like the whole bathroom scam. A dignity issue, universal changing tables popping up across Ohio. It all started here. We were heard. New Alabama law requires adult-sized changing tables in public buildings. Another article. Bill calls for adult changing tables in public spaces across New York. This insight was from COVID vaccine zombies in her Telegram account. I've quoted her 3 or 4 times where she just dives deep into the scam. And it gets more nefarious. Yes, warp speed went through the blood-brain barrier. I played this video before. Mad cow disease popping up. Kids getting colon cancer. Kids getting dementia. It's wickedness. And where's the mind controlism in all this as well? They don't need a chip to control you with optogenetics. But let's play this.
We identified so many of these safety signals, and what do they include? Well, they include central nervous system infections. So, right, it appears that the mRNA shot's actually disrupting the blood-brain barrier, breaking it open, allowing all these infections and pathogens to enter the brain from the blood. The spike protein gets in the brain, and we also see signals for prion disease, right? Human equivalent of mad cow disease. This has all been reported. And so the spike protein induces protein misfolding. We see herpes reactivations. We see spinal and brain abscesses. So basically you get these pus-filled lesions in the brain and spinal cord. It's terrible. It's decimating the neurological system, destroying the blood-brain barrier. And this should just demand the immediate withdrawal of these mRNA.
Instead of the withdrawal, they're doubling down on this technology. Trump's announcement with the Pfizer CEO and the billions of dollars being spent here in the United States with mRNA technology. AstraZeneca, a similar $50 billion investment here in the United States. Now, do I think pharmaceuticals should be produced overseas? I don't. But lean on the Lord for your health, my friends. Obviously, consult your doctor, but get in the Word of God. All right, let's continue about this blood-brain barrier. How it's going to be positioned is to fight cancer. I've got multiple videos. I read multiple research papers about blood-brain barrier crossing lipid nanoparticles for mRNA delivery to the central nervous system. It's all under the guise of good. But what do you think Operation Warp Speed was? Run from their sorcery. Pharmakia is sorcery. It's witchcraft, as we've always said. Let's continue. How to spot a Civil War psyop, because they have to kill the creditor because USA Inc. is bankrupt, as we've always said for the last 4 years. This is a recent article from Fortune magazine. America is going broke slowly, says JP Morgan, as national debt balloons and tariff revenue looks shaky. So what do? They get the left and the right being very, very aggressive. And I'm going to play a video with Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson calling out the left for being super aggressive. But nobody goes to jail, ever.
They're obviously agitating for more violence. You see the governor candidate in Virginia, said, I want to kill these state reps. I want to kill their children. I want to kill cops. The other gubernatorial candidate asked the lady, will you decry him calling for killing members of the legislature and their children?
Would it take him pulling the trigger and then you would say he needs to get out of the race, Abigail? You have nothing to say?
I mean, these people are doing this on purpose.
Chuck Schumer's saying he wants a forceful uprising.
People should be forcefully rising up against this.
And then we have Trump provoking the left with the No Kings protests. And I know people pretty close that went to these protests. They're kind of caught up on the left side. But notice the jet fighter, and this is an AI video that he posted on Truth Social. King Trump. He's going to be wearing a crown. Then J.D. Vance as well posted a video that Trump retweeted of Democrats bowing down to the king. Do you have eyes to see what's going on? Run from this fake Christian nationalism. It's fake. But he's going to dump some, it looks like, feces on the protesters. protesters get nailed. All right, another land grab, bankrupt businesses, forcing them to change bathrooms, changing tables, other nefarious laws. But it gets worse. U.S. farmers still waiting on trade war aid as USDA blames shutdown. The amount of farmers that are going bankrupt because of Trump's bogus tariffs is alarming. This is a land grab, my friends. So President Trump pledged to support farmers impacted by tariffs, the bogus tariffs. Again, it wasn't rate to rate, it was rate to real dollars. It was just a bogus move to launch AI around the world. But months later, the money is frozen. Agricultural Secretary blames the shutdown. Ooh, really? Meanwhile, Trump is pledging and pushing to give Argentina $20 billion. And Argentina is the country that is now supplying China the soybeans and other crops. Can't make this up. It's wickedness. It's a land grab. Will BlackRock go in and take up these farms? Bill Gates, these billionaires? This is an abomination. You should be ashamed of this. And it gets more nefarious. Trump tweets, hey, I'm going to put, 100% tariff on China. Then the stock market crashes. Well, so did the crypto market. And I was listening to Jeff Berwick. He's a crypto guy. He said someone made $80 million on shorting the cryptocurrency market. And it just so happens that Barron Trump's net worth hits $150 million. Trump's 19-year-old son, this is from the Economic Times, now richer than his mother, Melania, ? Check details. Barron Trump, Donald Trump's youngest son, has reportedly amassed a fortune of $150 million. Insider trading, meme coin. Remember the meme coin that Trump launched with the pump and dump? This guy's not out for you. This is wickedness. So was Trump the guy, was Barron Trump the guy that made $80 million from shorting the market from Trump's tweet that he came back and said, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that 100% tariff on China. I want to end on some good news. I research AI all the time, and stay tuned for the next VCAST. I'm going to cover what the true artificial intelligence will be that will run the world. Make sure you subscribe. But check this out. From Time Magazine, why AI companies are racing to build a virtual human cell. Virtual cells could make it easier to discover new drugs. The article goes on to say that cells are so complex. So you mean to tell me that we came from rock poop? The cell is so complex, they need AI to understand a healthy cell and a sick cell. They need super intelligence to understand the cell. Folks, you were made. You're made in the image of God. Genesis 1, verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Make you sit back and just pause. If you're not saved, check out sjwellfire.com. Proof the Bible is real. I went on a long journey of research before I realized the Bible is mathematically impossible to not be true. God bless. Thank you for your support. Stay tuned for the next VCAST on what I think is going to be the final AI system.
If you're a new mom and you're using baby lotion, please watch this video.
I want to ask some questions of you, and a simple yes or no is fine. The FDA's authority over the safety of baby lotion. First, can the FDA require a review of baby lotion for safety before it comes to market? No. Can the FDA require the manufacturer not to use a toxic ingredient, for example, formaldehyde, in its baby lotion? No. Is the manufacturer required to register with the FDA before selling its baby lotion? No. My first statement is becoming truer. Once the baby lotion comes to market, can the FDA require safety information about the baby lotion? No. If the baby lotion has caused bad reactions in the babies, can the FDA require a recall? No. If the manufacturer is aware of the baby's bad reactions, would the manufacturer be required to report that to the FDA? No. Well, I think everybody's paying rapt attention here. In our country today, could cosmetic products for sale to use on children or infants with unknown ingredients and no safety review. If the product is dangerous, the FDA would not be able to require a recall. You already said that. I think we have a real problem on our hands.
What if I was to tell you that one of the companies in Washington that attorney set up is a medical coding research company? What if I told you Obamacare was set up for one reason and one reason only, and that's to traffic children? Obamacare. That's the only reason it was set up. What if I told you that they invested so much money, they built 3 supercomputers in the university in Austin, Texas, that a mother can go to her gynecologist, find out that she's pregnant, and the moment he puts in the code, the child traffickers are following that mother, their pregnancy. They know whether she's going to get an abortion, whether she has a live birth. They follow the kid through the first few years of school. They know if it's got blonde hair, blue eyes, or red hair, green eyes, or whatever. And what if they got blood type, DNA, all your medical records? Obamacare coding system removed doctor-patient confidentiality from the United States and the world. Don't think it just happened here. It happened all over the world in every United Nations country when that was passed. We started it. So, it's a 5-digit coding system with over 80,000 codes. We call it medical kidnapping in this country. I have parents that have walked into Phoenix Children's Hospital, and they can be up there talking to their doctor. Their doctor writes stuff down in his notes. He hands it to the medical coding expert in his office. She takes it, she puts it in the computer. CPS and the Superior Court of Arizona leases space in the basement of the hospital. A red flag pops up on the CPS agent's computer down there. She has every medical record, the home address, the parent's name, everything. She can cut, paste, put it on her documents in order to remove, walk it next door to the judge, have him sign it, get in the elevator, be upstairs within 5 minutes taking the child. Whatever they want to think of. Yeah. They do. Every hospital. The courts and CPS, every major hospital in the United States, they lease space.
Handing over vast amounts of personal information to real estate agents, but that could soon be about to change. Federal politics reporter Amanda Kopp explains.
When people apply for a rental property, they need to provide their driver's license, passport, bank statements, and utility bills, putting an alarming amount of personal information in the hands of real estate agents. Now the federal government is raising concerns about the risk for data breaches and identity theft, and it's looking at possible alternatives, trialling using digital IDs instead, like government-issued MyIDs.
Whatever we can do to minimise people sharing loads of personal data about themselves and then losing control of that, I think is a good thing.
Rather than giving agents personal documents over and over again, renters could soon be able to confirm their identities with a simple click using verified online tools. Currently, rental applications are highly regulated and differ from state to state, but these trials aim to simplify things and reduce excessive data sharing. Trials will begin next year.
Amanda, thank you.